Welcome everybody to our webinar today, and thank you for taking a few minutes to take a look at a brand new suite of analysis tools built specifically for your IDEA data analysis software by Automation Services. The new set of analytics are called IDEA Audit Solutions, and today we're going to focus specifically on expense controls, which is a module of tests that have been made available on the Automation Services website. My name is Scott Smith. I'm the sales engineer here at Automation Services, and it's my job to help you get the absolute best and most efficient use of your IDEA data analysis software. At Automation Services, we firmly believe that embracing audit testing standards and data analysis skills are core competencies that will improve your auditing process and could very well improve your understanding of the risk in your organizations. The best and most efficient way to accomplish this is to embrace and leverage the latest technology available. So why audit expense controls? One of the most notable reasons is to assure compliance with management and corporate policy and procedures. Expense controls are in place to assure compliance by employees at all levels. Employees have to know and be compelled to follow policy. Managers must understand and follow the limits on their authority to expend the company's resources. Monitoring and testing expense control results help ensure that these guidelines are followed. IDEA Audit Solutions are canned or pre-recorded scripts. They're easy to use and provide standardized, consistent results every time that you run them. There are currently 6 function-specific packages available. We have General Ledger, Expense Controls and Procurement, Accounts Payable and Journal Entries, as well as Travel Expenses, with another 4 to be released shortly. If you are interested in learning more, please log into our website at www.automation.com or call your account manager directly. If you are able to log into either of the first 2 webinars, General Ledger or Accounts Payable, you may remember that I stepped through the test manually in IDEA. And then I ran the test using the Audit Solutions script, just to contrast the ease of use. Well, today I'm going to go straight to the scripts. I'm not going to use IDEA's built-in capabilities. We're going to use the compiled script. So let's get going and take a look at a handful of the test scripts included in the Audit Solutions Expense Control module. So what I'm going to do now is flip over to my IDEA data analysis instance. I've got IDEA version 9 up and running. You can see the ribbon across the top of the screen. Very easy to use, very simple to navigate. I've already imported an expense data set. Should be very familiar to you, have the same columns and types of data that you see on a regular basis. And I've chosen 4 tests that I'm going to perform out of the 17 available inside of the Expense Controls module. These are pretty simple tests, very powerful results, and easy to use. And that's what these Audit Solutions packages were designed for, to be easy to use. You can hand them off to a new member of the team. Let them use IDEA using pre-recorded scripts to get results that are consistent every time that you run the test. You also notice here up on my ribbon, I have included another tab. I call it the Audit Solutions tab. In that Audit Solutions tab, I have 2 groups. I have the General Ledger group from the first presentation, as well as the Expense Controls group for this presentation. And the reason I do that is because IDEA is very flexible. You have complete capabilities of modifying your user interface to make it more user-friendly and easy for you. I've created a small video that will be posted on our website that goes into detail on how to create a tab, the group, and then add items to the group so they can be accessed easily. So right now, you can see I have trend analysis by expense amounts. I have top spends by department, top payee by department, and anti-bribery and corruption already listed on my new group inside of my tab. So let's go ahead and dive right in and use some of these tests. First test that I'm going to do is number 5. Expense Controls test number 5 is top spends by department. The way that you're going to use any of these Audit Solutions tests is click on the test, answer the first dialog, select the expense ledger file from the File Explorer window. There's my file. I'm going to click Open. This particular test requires 4 pieces of information to go through the test and provide you some results. The first item needed is the department field. Now this is depending on the fact that you have already looked over your data that you've imported. You know the names of the columns, and the data that is in those columns, because you're going to have to match this column with what Audit Solutions is expecting. Department field, we call it the department code. The expense account code, expense account description, and lastly, I need an expense amount. Once I've identified all the columns required by the test, simply click OK. This is a multi-step process. It has to do some aggregation of the data and summarization of the data to ultimately do a top 10 extraction. These are the top 10 spends by department with a number of records. Anytime you get a blue number in IDEA, it's a drill down. You can click on that and look at the underlying data that supports that specific row. Very simple test. And one further point to note is if you go to the library and look at the exports, the last step in this test is to provide you an Excel spreadsheet with this data. Very easy. You can put that in working papers. You can email it to management so they can look over your results. All right, let's close these tests out and go to test number 2. The second test I've chose to run today is top payees by department. Very similar to test number 5. Go to the Audit Solutions tab, click on the test, identify the test data, click Open. This one has only 3 required fields. The department field, one more time, department code. The payee field, we call that the payee name, and one more time, an amount. All columns identified, click OK. IDEA does another multi-step test. On this particular test, by payee department code, the number of records and the amount spent. Again, not difficult, just a very solid test with a solid output that's relevant to the type of analysis expense controls that you're running today. Last step again, output a simple Excel spreadsheet. And let me widen this out just a tad. And you can see clearly that there it is. It outputs it as an XLSX. That's a Excel 2007 to 2013 file. All right, let's make that a little bit smaller. Look at our File Explorer. You notice I have many more databases available inside my File Explorer now. These tests are creating databases for you. That's a good thing because it's in the history. It shows everything that you've done so you can have your audit trail created. Close these tests out one more time and get back to our main file, our originally imported expense data. And we're going to run test number 13 is called Anti-bribery and Corruption. Basically what this test does is look through a large amount of data very quickly and identify keywords. These are red flag words that could indicate bribery or corruption. It does a direct extraction and isolates the words inside of a text column. And the cool thing is on this test is the words that are in the test can be a part of the word that you're looking for. The word that you're looking for could be a part of the word that's in the test. So you're going to get a large list with some false positives, but that's okay too because some of those are going to be actual positives. Get your data ready. Click on the test in your Audit Solutions tab. One more time, identify the original data that you'd like to search through. Click Open. Now you see this test requires one field input, a reference, memo, or description field. This is the field that you're going to search through to look for specific words or phrases. In my data, it's called reference memo. That's all you have to do on this test. Click OK. In IDEA, look through the reference column, and I know present was one of the words. I know gift was one of the words, and I know reward was one of the words. So I have 3 hits. Do these indicate bribery or corruption? Well, we don't know. But you know what? They matched on words that are in a list of words that could indicate that. Again, expense controls number 13 outputs this data set into an Excel spreadsheet for me. That's a big convenience. All right, let's close this out and go to our final test. This one gets a little bit more complex. Quite a few more steps involved in order to do this test. This is trend analysis of expense amounts. It's a quarter-on-quarter comparison of the amount spent by expense type. A lot of work done in order to do this test. If I was to do it manually, it would take us a long time. The test actually goes through and separates out data by quarter and does a whole lot of summarization and various analysis on the data. Let's see how easy it is and the output that we get using the Audit Solutions test. I'm going to go over on my tab and click Expense Controls Test Number 3, Trend Analysis of Expense Amounts. Identify my data set. Click Open. 4 pieces of data required. Select the expense account code. Expense account description. Select the expense posting date. I want to make a note about this date. A lot of times we receive data in various formats, and dates can be formatted with dashes, with periods, with spaces, with no spaces. The very strong thing that they did in this script, if you're identifying a column as a date and the data itself is not in a date format, IDEA applies logic to clean those dates up and make it usable. You don't have to go through it. It'll do it automatically. So I know that the posted date has my date information in it. I don't really worry about whether it's in a date format or not. As long as it's consistent through my data set, the script is going to clean it up and use it as the date element in this script. And the last, I need the amount again. We want to know the averages. Now, what you're going to see here is a lot of files being created across the top of the screen and a lot of databases being created in our File Explorer. Click OK, and you can see it looking through the data set, pulling out each quarter, doing some roll-ups, and ultimately I got a file that shows the expense type, the quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the amounts averaged within each quarter by expense. This is a strong test. It allows us to start doing some planning, possibly assisting with how expenses can be planned for in the next budget cycle. One more time, we have an output of an Excel spreadsheet automatically. Last step in the test. Go back over here and expand out the test. You can see all of the databases that were created. Everything's in history, so it's documented for you to be able to take that information and put it into your working papers. None of these tests are extremely difficult, but as you can see, there's a lot of intermediate steps on some of them that if you had to do them yourself, it could become a chore. What happens with the Audit Solutions tests is you can have someone run these tests and you know that the data is going to be rolled up the same way every time for any function, for any client that you use these tests on. And ultimately, you get an Excel spreadsheet with the output that can be shared very easily. I'd like to thank everybody for attending. I hope you're able to see how very easy it is to run and use these tests. I only showed you 4 of the 17 tests that come in the expense control set, but they're very relevant results. Audit solutions are created to output consistent result sets every time you run them. Assign this expense control auditing or testing to a new team member, and rest assured you're going to get the same results done in the same way every time, producing simple Excel output for review by management. For more information, open your browser to www.automation.com and click the IDEA Audit Solutions link in the small blue box on the right-hand side of the page. Or you can copy this URL into the browser and it'll jump you directly to the page that has more information about the scripts themselves. One more time, I'd like to thank you for attending today. And if there's anything that we can do to help, be sure to get directly in contact with your account manager. My phone number and email address is available on this slide. Feel free to contact me also. I look forward to talking to each and every one of you, and make it a great day.